Hey guys, welcome to today's lesson on the forces of history. This one's about ecology. So ecology is interesting. It's going to be about how the things beyond our control can affect what we have to do. Okay, the three main things I want to talk about: your environment. So think about this. If you're going to go on a trip to Mars or to the moon, you're going to have some different things in your environment. There's not any water there. I mean, maybe they found some evidence of frozen water, but nothing you can drink, and there ain't a dang air. So unless you bring some with you, you're going to die. These are some of the environmental factors we could be talking about. Tied kind of with that would be climate. So at the time I'm filming this, there's a bunch of fires in California, some pretty close to where I'm from. Some of my friends are affected by these fires. Okay, if it's hot, it's dry, the likelihood of fire is way up. And so this is something that I used to have to deal with every summer in California. Your climate, whether it's hot or cold, can not only affect the temperature, but those temperature changes affect microorganisms. They affect germs, which ties us into the next thing, which is disease. Okay? Of all the forces of history we're going to talk about, disease is probably the most powerful. Because at the time that the first Europeans, and we're talking Columbus and the conquistadors and these early explorers, they came to the Americas, the population of native people in all the Americas was tens and tens of millions. Maybe 100 million people lived over here between Central, South, and North America. I mean, maybe it's less than that. But my point is just the disease, one in particular, smallpox, wiped out in some places up to 90% of the population. 90%. 9 out of every 10. Which basically means every single family in that area lost most of their family. Most families. You would lose your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister. You'd be the only one left alive. When you go through such a ginormous cleaning out, something like that where everybody dies, and you're the survivor, you're not in a good position to fight off whatever comes next. And what was it that really came next? Even though it's 100 or 200 years later, what came next is English colonists, French colonists, Spanish colonists, and these people from Europe who earlier the Native Americans might have been able to just wipe them out, push them right off back into the ocean and be done with it. History would be pretty different if that had been the case. One of the reasons, coupled with technology, that Europeans were able to just conquer and devastate these native populations was because of this ecologic factor, this disease that killed so many people. It's funny because when we talk about COVID, okay, right now we're looking at a death rate of somewhere between 1 to 3%. In the areas where it's 3%, we're talking about devastating. People are doing everything. They're shutting down the entire country sometimes to prevent 3% of people from dying. Smallpox killed up to 90%. It's the greatest death ever. Even the Black Plague back in Europe really only killed 30 or 40% of the people. So the disaster that happened from this biological factor, from ecology, from germs, that wiped out the Native American populations in North, Central, and South America, really left the door open for all the conquest and all the changes and everything that came after it. So that's your lesson for today, ecology. We don't have a lot of control over it, but it can certainly have a lot of control over us. Probably you're wearing a mask as you view this right now, which is a testament to the impact ecology can have, even when it's nowhere near as bad as what we're going to study in Native American populations. All right, that's the last of the forces of history. So if you haven't checked out the other 5, which is economy, geography, interaction, laws, and technology, please pull up the videos, look those over, and as we go through every single unit, when you're trying to answer the question, why is this happening? Why did this happen? In every instance, there's going to be a few of these that are the reason why. And as you go through the year, you can look up at the posters on the wall and use that to clue your brain to remember these little talks and think about how these forces of history have been so very impactful. It's not just about people who made choices. There's all these other factors that get put into that. History's not really about one guy who did a great thing, because there's all these factors working in the background. All right, guys, we'll see you next time.